What's up, YouTube? It's Eric from the Ancient of Days. Today we're going to have a sort of lighthearted beginning here in the video. We're going to talk about a little bit more serious topics as we get into it, and then we're going to finish off on just pretty much showing you here, guys, how we are being deceived. All of us. Okay, even believers are being deceived, especially those who are expecting to escape this this new world order, if you will, and everything that they are going ahead and looking to, not really force into us, but to make it feel like that we don't have any other options. All right, well, one thing is for certain: if they have to come in and put a boot on your neck and do something to you by force, then you have nothing to worry about, because that's not your decision. That's not your consent. That's something that they did to you by force. So it was not on your own will, and you don't have to be worried about that. And the reason why I'm even saying this is because I'm addressing somebody in particular in comment that I have commented back and forth quite a bit with. So please email me. You know who you are if you're watching. My email is codered, CODERED 4800 at yahoo.com, because the types of questions that you have, I can get into a lot more details in an email response than I can go ahead on a comment board, because even the comment boards are subjected to the algorithms of the AI gods, so to say. Okay, so what I want to talk about first off is, why are we not live streaming? Why haven't I done a premiere like I said? Well, first we'll talk about the live streaming, and then we'll talk about the premiere. I was going to do it the other way around, but let's do the live streaming. First off, yesterday, I was playing around with the software. I watched some tutorials. One was a tutorial said, and watch this 10-minute video and you'll be live streaming in 10 minutes. I was like, sweet. Yeah, I was like, anything that sounds too good to be true usually is, and it always is pretty much for the most part. So I watched the tutorial. It's very straight up, and the software doesn't seem all that complicated to me. It looks like it's going to come together pretty easily. However, when I went to go do a test stream, and I clicked live, I had no camera feed. And by that point, it was already getting later. It was dinner time, roughly about. I had to go out and water the flowers, all that. So I just put it down and I said, you know what, no big deal. And it's for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. It truly does. Because shortly after that, it was brought to my attention the deficits that I am facing here and trying to get live streaming, getting ahead of myself, so to say. I get excited about something and I want to charge towards that finish line. No, it's not ready for that, okay? We're almost there, guys. We're almost there. But first, what I got to do is I got to get myself a properly working landline, because we did go ahead. I paid for specifically an extra $50 to have a landline put down here, and they supposedly did it. But then when I plugged it in, the landline never worked. I am assuming, I feel it's a strong possibility that the cord that I have, that's like a 50-foot Ethernet cord, I feel strongly is likely probably got a fray in it somewhere and is broken, because it's a very long cord that's wrapped up all around, up through the ceiling and through the floorboards. And it's very easily could be frayed or fractured in one of the wires somewhere along the line, and that's why I'm having to use Wi-Fi, which is terrible, because not only am I highly sensitive to Wi-Fi radio frequency technology, I'm also get knocked offline every single time I'm doing videos, or even trying to get prepared for videos. When you start setting up all the tabs in order, I get knocked offline, but nobody else in the house is offline. So I'm down here screaming. I'm like, are you guys online? Are you guys online? Like, nobody could really hear me, and I go upstairs all frustrated. What's going on? Why isn't the internet working? Everybody else, they're like, oh, everything's working fine up here. This happens every single video without fail. And it has even happened today. Actually, I had to restart my computer twice today. And thankfully, it gives you in history restore tabs, but it doesn't put it back to exactly where you were. But today we're not doing a bunch of at current point video clips, so it wasn't that big a deal. But So I'm really looking forward, guys, to moving forward with this new software, because Screencast is what I wanted to use today, because here on Wondershare that I'm using right now, you can't go in and out and transition your cam feed in and out, which I don't want to go and start showing footage and things of that sort with my mug right there in the middle of it, having to increase and decrease the scale of the size of the camera feed frame. So yes, guys, my friends, all right, we're going to get into what's going on here, because after I go ahead and get everything squared away, I got some computer maintenance to do. I got to get my files in order, all my folders, because once we start live streaming, of course, I don't have any mods or anything, and maybe nobody will even show up for all I know. I don't know, but I'm working out on faith here. I'm going to take a leap of faith. I'm going to step out and put myself out there. And these questions that people are having, that I get very few emails, by the way, but for the emails that I do get, and for the comments that I do get, that people that have questions, this would be a perfect forum where we can go ahead and openly have these discussions and dialogue. So on that, guys, we're looking at Project Bluebeam. We're going to have some fun looking at some videos going back to Area 51. And I want to know, let's see, do you guys remember this? Because people remember things after you show them, right? Where they did this alien interview on Area 51, as well as the UFO attack that they had in Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, back in 2011, and then they came out and said it was some sort of like electrical wires or whatever at a military base. But they were saying, the initial reports were saying that the aliens, aliens, right? The aliens, really the fallen ones that have taken on biological host body suits. They're just demonic entities and fallen angels in biological body suits is what they are. And they're interdimensional. So they were saying that we were getting a can of whoop ass because we took ancient artifacts and technology and things out of Afghanistan or Iraq. Afghanistan, they were saying, and I know that the Iraqi museum was looted by the CIA, but that's old news. So they were saying that they were teaching us a lesson. So for an hour or two, they pummeled us with what looks like a giant light show to me, but you guys could be the judge on that. I actually feel that this was just more predictive programming, as well as we're going to look at this here, this interview with the Area 51 alien. And I'm not going to draw conclusions, guys. I want you guys to go ahead and decide for yourselves if it's real. Okay, I've already made up my own conclusions, and I'll give them to you at the end of the video, but I'll let you guys go ahead and digest it. Now, I want to fact check myself. On the previous vid, I had talked about how, what was it, 60% in Canada was already jabbed. And I didn't know. I think I said 10% for the world, right? Okay, well, I was grossly underestimating that. It's actually 20% roughly around for the entire world. So we're going to talk about that, as well as some of these shady camps that are erected. Okay, and then we're going to get into the Left Behind series, as how they've been predictive programming the masses, all the way from back in 1938 with the War of the Worlds radio broadcast. Then they turned it into a movie. Then we talk about the history of mind control, where I didn't even know that the New World Order goes all the way back to the days of Nero in the 1st century. And then it also came out through Adolf Hitler, and then through George Bush Sr. in 1991. So the New World Order, the one world totalitarian technocracy, is not a new idea. It is an old ancient idea that is now manifest here at the end of the age, the end of the earth cycle. Okay, we're not in the end of days, we are at the end of the earth age, where we are to be consumed by fire. When? Who the heck knows? It could be decades from now for all I know. But one thing I do know is that they are cracking down and ramping things up, and likely just about all of us here that are wide awake to the truth are going to have to face decisions. But the thing is, we don't have to be in fear of anything. Leave this all in our Father God's hands through Christ Yeshua the Messiah, because if you are truly saved and reborn, and yeah, if you have loved ones and all that are going along with the program, guys, that's where we really need to let go. We gotta let go and focus on ourselves. And we have to focus on those that are closest to us, such as our children and our spouse. And if that's a conflict, then it's going to be a very difficult decisions, and it could cause major problems and strife in your families. All right, I'm just being as open, direct, and honest as possible about what is coming in the future. Of course, this has been going on for a year and a half, and they only have about 20% of the world population with this jab now. All right, so they're saying in 4 months they're going to have 75% in the U.S. I'll have to read it when we get to it. I think they're saying 75% of the U.S. is going to have to be fully jabbed by within 4 months, they're saying. But you know what? I remember when they came out with Operation Warp Speed, they were saying within 24 hours everybody's going to be jabbed with their kids' pants pulled down, and we're going to do it whether you want it to or not. And that was a total psyop. So if they were psyoping then, I have no reason to not suspect that they're psyoping now. All right, let's get started and start looking at some footage, and I'll move my face out of the way so I don't have to bore you with that. Let's watch. Alright, my friends, so before we get started here, I'd like for you guys to go ahead and take a minute. Please go sub up to my backup channel, The Deliverer, because, yeah, the topics I talk about often, especially the one today, I'm going to touch on and be as careful as I can be. And once I get everything squared away with my software, my computer maintenance, with the landline, of course, I'll be starting the live streams and we can interact and have an open dialogue. Okay, today we're just going to touch on the vaccinations, fact check what I said in my last video where it was actually double what I actually said, and even touch on Project Bluebeam here as we go ahead and get into this. If you guys remember Fort Worth, Texas back in 2011, they were saying that this was actually the aliens, right? Aliens, air quotes, you can't see them, but aliens, I'm saying, the fallen ones is what it was, that got angry with us because we went ahead and took things from the Afghan war, high technology or artifacts such as we did in Iraq where we raided the Baghdad Museum, that they said that we could not do, and we did it. And apparently they said that initial reports were that we were getting our butts handed to us open through a can of whoop ass from these interdimensionals or fallen angels, you can call them, just lighten up this military base to teach us a lesson. But you know what? My discernment tells me that yes, there was likely craft up there, and this looks more like a giant light show. Predictive programming and social engineering for when they go ahead and usher in on the Bluebeam project spoken by Serge Monas in 1994, when we start seeing the false coming of the kingdom, the false messiah, and then people bend a knee to a holographic projection, which will be their Harpazo, and we'll get into how that's going to happen, and it's just going to be a complete mockery of the coming of the kingdom, guys. But this is social engineering. People don't remember 2011 until they see it again. Like me and myself, I did today. It was brought back to memory. I was like, my gosh, I remember watching that. And you could find actually here this same clip in high definition on YouTube, but it's not quite the same. This guy narrates. Listen to what he has to say. We'll even stop and take a look at when he says, there's the craft right there. Let's watch. Fort Worth, Texas, 2011.
This happened May 21st, 2011. This is a different angle, and I'll show you several more so you know it's not a hoax. This happened at the U.S. Army National Guard base. Direct energy weapons were used underground, well, from above to underground, wiped them out. They had technology from Afghanistan that they should not have removed, and they were warned, so they were spanked big time.
Muy genérico sobre una situación que se ha dado en una base
I'll give you that. It's one heck of a light show. Let's keep watching.
militar norteamericana el día 10 de mayo del 2011.
There's one of the UFOs right there. They're the good guys.
Right there. He's speaking about one of these are the UFOs right there. It's possible. I mean, it's possible, but this is taken from a camera an outdoor camera that was a surveillance camera for the government? So we don't know, okay? This is what they're social engineering, predictive programming. People won't remember it now, but they'll sure remember it once we start having this space show that they're promising us. Because once we start to have this space show, somebody will give somebody a bump in the arm and say, hey, remember that down in 2011 in Fort Worth, Texas, when they attacked the military base? Yeah, this is what's happening. Oh my gosh, alien invasion, War of the Worlds. Let's continue to watch.
There's another one. They spanked them for 2 to 3 hours. And it was
okay, if they did this type of assault, this type of attack on a military base for 2 to 3 hours, A, there would be nobody left alive. B, there's no question that the U.S. government, the military-industrial complex, would have used an EMP of some sort to take down these craft, as they proclaim that they have done in the past. I don't feel in my spirit at all that they would just sit there and take a pummeling like this for 2 to 3 hours, where it would have likely killed every single person in that military base if this was for real. Yeah, this is a real spectacular light show. But if you look at other video footage of this, you see cars driving by. They're not slowing down or anything. This could be completely staged just for people like this guy to say, yeah, look at the UFO right there shooting the beams down. Well, everything to me looks like it's being broadcast up. I've been to parties what are called raves, clubs that have better light shows than this, but it looks just like this, like an incredible club that you're going to with girls dancing in cages. I'm just looking to see where they're at, but I don't see them.
silent. It was a slaughter. But you won't hear this in the U.S. mainstream media for obvious reasons.
Okay, yeah, he says it was a slaughter. It was a slaughter, but you won't hear it in the mainstream media. Where's he getting his information? Where was the information on the slaughter? Does he have internal documents? Does he have bodies to show me? No. He has a light show. He has a light show that was taken from a government camera to show us that we were attacked by an outside source, and then they changed the story to it was some sort of electrical situation with wires falling all over the military base or something to that effect, which is also an absolute joke. But also this here, we would never take a pummeling like this from an outside source and not respond. I'm not buying it for a second. This is social engineering and predictive programming for when they introduce Project Bluebeam and the space show that they have. Like I said, Uncle Joe will go ahead and give you that bump on the arm and say, remember that down in Fort Worth, Texas? This is exactly what's happening.
Reasons.
Donde existe una base militar muy importante. Entonces,
seriously, look at that. Yes, an incredible spectacle, an incredible light show. But if this was directed energy being brought down onto us by the Elohim, which are the fallen angels, then we would certainly be looking at thousands upon thousands of dead military men, women, and officers. Here's another angle. Now, I remember seeing this back around, 2012 or whatever. It happened in 2011. I probably saw it around 2012. I was blown away when I first saw it, just like this guy was. But I wasn't adding on to my conclusions based on nothing at all except a bunch of flashing lights and cars not even slowing down while it was happening. So, no, I'm not buying it for a second. This is all to go ahead and socially engineer and predictively mind control the masses. Okay? Yeah, massive. If this went on for 2 to 3 hours, like I said, there'd be more dead bodies than we could count. Okay? Now, this here happened over the Temple Mount, over Jerusalem, right? So, here it is. There's this incredible light orb there. I remember watching this when it happened too. I was so blown away. But really, honestly, guys, this reminds me of a TR-3B or something, some sort of technology that is very similar. I mean, TR3B has long since been declassified, so who's to say that this isn't our own technology even given to us by the fallen angels?
Seen them in Mississippi like this, but never like
Watch this as it takes off.
Easily dismissed as a hoax until you see this. The same event, or so it seems, filmed from a different angle by someone else. The glowing ball of light dropping until it hangs just over the dome of the rock. These spectators a little more impressed.
Whoa!
Yeah, that is impressive. I was impressed when I first saw it, Dome of the Rock. Okay, no doubt about it. That was something else. But you know what? That could easily be our own technology. Easily.
Ball suddenly shooting off as if disturbed. If it's a hoax, it's very well done.
Yeah. No, I don't think it was a hoax at all. I think it was just more predictive mind control programming. Now, this one is very interesting. This goes back to Area 51, and as I have said in other videos, of course, 1997 from Area 51. But anyways, yeah, if it's a military base that you think is clandestine and you know about it, then it's not all that clandestine, because all the clandestine bases, military bases, are deep underground military bases, which are called DUMBs, and I look forward to getting into those topics with you guys, especially once we start doing live streams, hopefully later this week. You know, I'm not making any promises on timelines. It all depends on how much work I got to do to get things set up straight and organized so that once I start doing the live streams, I can start doing them on a daily or every other day basis. Let's listen to here. This guy, he goes by the name Victor. He won't give his real name, but what he has to say here before he watched the so-called alien interview is profound and is the truth, whether it is a hoax or not. What he says is the truth. Now listen.
Do you think it's a reassuring sign that these aliens can communicate with us on a spiritual plane?
It would be nice to think so, but I'm not sure if it's really such an achievement considering the mismatch between our intellects. I mean, you're not going to have much luck making your dog understand calculus. But if you pet him on the head and say, "Good dog," aren't you communicating spiritually? And doesn't the animal control officer say, "Good dog," when he comes to put some poor stray to sleep? Doesn't the vet try to reassure the animal just before he spays it? When you're dealing with beings whose intellect is so far beyond your own, I don't think it's safe to assume they have your best interests at heart.
Ain't that the truth? Okay, so we're going to get into this alien interview. Alright, this is supposed to be the alien interview that was done at Area 51. Alright, so why, if you were doing an interview, I first have to ask, if I was to seriously analyze this footage, which I have, why would you have it very dark in the room with a table in front of it, everything blocking it, of course, and then this thing is going to start to have some sort of medical trouble, and yeah, it makes movements that would be very, very hard for a puppet. Perhaps it's some older form of an AI robot that they created. I don't know, okay? I don't feel that this is an actual alien gray or the Zeta Reticula, because I've actually had encounters with them. And what it is how they manifest is they are almost like half technology, half biology. They can actually change their frequency to a lighter vibration and frequency than the walls so that they can pass through it. And then they could become dense again. So they have the ability, whether it's through a suit that they wear or whether it is a part that is within their biology. That's how you can see them on the outside of your house, and then they literally pass through the wall and then wind up in your own house. But as soon as you rebuke them in our Messiah, Yeshua Christ's name, they flee. Okay, that goes to prove that they are a fallen Archon manifest, a demonic entity in a biological suit, whether it also be intermingled with AI, which I strongly feel they are. But this to me looks like an animatronic puppet of some sort. Let's watch.
The telepath was trying to clarify some points from a previous interview, but he wasn't receiving coherent responses. As you can see, the being is in real distress. At this point, the telepath is sending out a message to the medical staff. He's trying to communicate with the alien, but he's getting...
See, what he's saying is that the alien doesn't speak like, hey, how you doing? Could I have a soda? No, he's telepathically communicating to somebody who has a gift that can telepathically communicate with this higher dimensional fallen being. Okay, if this is the case. If this is even real, which I don't feel that it is, but at some points it looks real. I'm not going to totally dismiss it. I'll leave it up to you guys to dismiss it or not. This is more of a lighthearted, fun video today. But yes, okay, so let's listen and continue to watch.
No response.
So apparently this thing is choking on something or whatever. The psychic agent that's communicating telepathically with this alien gray here, which is really a fallen being, a low density astral plane 5th density being, is telepathically communicating that he's in distress. Now let's watch.
There's very little he can do. There's no direct connection between his space and the biocontainment area. That's the aide stepping in on the right. The medical staff should be there by now. They're slow in responding. There they are. I have to say the medical personnel at S4 are less than first rate. They tend to be selected for their willingness to keep secrets rather than their medical competence. By the way, he's not shining that light into the eyes. It looks that way, but in fact he's checking for hemorrhaging around the eye sockets and in the nasal cavity. I'm sorry. It's very hard for me to watch this.
What does this guy have? Feelings for this thing? Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Really? If this is for real? He feels bad for that thing? My gosh, how pathetic. Alright, so let's get into the vax, guys, the jab. So I want to talk about here, this was updated June 20th, 2021 at 3:45 p.m. and right now it is 5:07 on 6/21, June 21st of 2021. So they're saying now the biggest vaccination campaign in history is underway. More than 2.62 billion doses have been administered across 180 countries. According to data collected by Bloomberg, the latest rate was roughly 39.7 million doses a day. In the U.S., 318 million doses have been given so far. But rest assured, guys, that what's going to happen is it's going to start to feel more and more that if you don't go ahead and get this thing, that they're going to start to take away privileges from you until you won't be able to do anything. I could see this a mile away. Now, whether this happens over the next 4 months, as they're going to say right down here, enough doses have now been administered to fully vaccinate 17.1% of the global population. I said 10%, so it was almost double of what I actually said in my previous vid. Okay, so we go down and let's look at the real numbers here. Here we go. We're looking at globally percentage of people. In the EU, we got 36.6%. In the US, we have just about half. Okay, 49.6% in the US has been vaccinated. In the UK, we have almost 60%, 55.6%. In Canada, we have 65% of people who have received 1 dose, okay? This is where we need to place all of our trust and all of our faith in Christ Yeshua the Messiah, cover everything in the blood of Christ, and let Him do the work. Let Him put you where you are meant to be spiritually and physically, and don't worry about it, okay? What's going to happen is going to happen. We can't change that. The only thing we can do now is depend on our faith and stand in our sovereign authority of the resurrected Christ. Are we bending the curve yet? Israel was the first to show that vaccinations were having a nationwide effect. The country has led the world in vaccinations. Wow, yeah, they sure do lead by example. And by February, more than 84% of people ages 70 and older had received 2 doses. Guess what happened after 70 years and older had received 2 doses? The COVID cases and deaths declined rapidly. A separate analysis in the UK showed similar results. You know why I'm laughing? Is because, yeah, severe COVID cases and deaths declined rapidly after 70 and older for obvious reasons to me, and it begins with the letter E and ends with the letter S. Now let's take a look here, because this is where I'm sure I will wind up and have my Harpazo, okay? Because let's not forget now, on Amazon, look at what is having its 25th anniversary edition. Oh my gosh, the Left Behind series, complete set, volumes 1 through 16, hardcover. This was from January 1st, right, 2008. I mean, give me a freaking break. Are you kidding me? That the Left Behind series is a multimedia franchise that started with a series of 16 best-selling religious novels, okay? You guys were taught by a book, by a novel, by a fictional fairy tale. I know it's in Thessalonians by Paul, but those were letters to the churches, and we don't know if those are the real translations. I'm going by what I have received of my father, guys. No. We are not going to be harpazoed. The only harpazo that's going to come is when they hit a certain frequency for those that have received those double jabs, and then they suddenly drop and are taken up in a whirlwind. That's their harpazo, but it's actually genocide. The primary conflict of the series is members of Tribulation Force, an underground network of converts against the NWS organization, global community, and its leader, Nicola Carpathia, who is the Antichrist. Give me a freaking break. Okay, so in 2000, all right, so they're pushing what they want you to believe. They are pushing what they want the lukewarm Christians to believe, that we're going to get sucked up like a vacuum cleaner when Project Bluebeam rolls in, and they give us this fantastic space show like you saw right here. Okay, except it's going to be a false coming of the kingdom, a false Messiah, and a false harpazo, which will be, like I said, a genocide. Because let's not forget about War of the Worlds in 1938. War of the Worlds was an episode of an American radio drama anthology series, all right, directed and narrated by actor and future filmmaker Orson Welles, as the adaptation of H.G. Wells' novel War of the Worlds from 1898. So this is it right here. Let's listen to it because it's pretty freaking hilarious if you ask me. When all they did was announce in the very, very beginning of the broadcast what it was, and then we're going to listen to what the guy doing, the reporters supposedly out in the field during this broadcast, when nothing was happening. You hear no gunfire, you hear nothing happening, yet still the population totally lost its mind. Why? Because back then in 1938, the radio was like the word of God. Just like television was a weapon, the radio was a weapon. That was the first stage of the MK Ultra frequency weapon mind control behavior modification. Then it moved to motion picture with also pulsing frequency technology. And so when people hear something on one of the mainstream media outlets that are owned by one of the 6 corporations, that yes, there is an alien invasion in a gigantic space show. If people were freaking out in 1938 over this, imagine what's going to happen when they see it on TV. Let's first listen and have a laugh, and then we'll show you that people are not any more dumb and just brainwashed than they were back in 1938. The only difference is now is that we have internet and we can see on TV all around the world the collective idiocracy of the population. But no, nothing has changed. They're still the same mind-controlled meat puppets in 2021. Let's listen.
Columbia Broadcasting System and its affiliated stations present Orson Welles and the Mercury Theater on the Air in The War of the Worlds by H.G. Wells.
So that's the only thing they did to mention that this was just entertainment. Now let's listen to the reporters that were actually trying to go ahead, and they were doing this adaptation. They were saying it was a show, but let's listen to the reporters out there as to how silly this sounds, and people actually bought it. Let's listen. That guy's got some weird, creepy fingers and whatnot, right? Whatever. I don't know. I got weird hands too, but let's watch.
situation arising from the reported presence of certain individuals of unidentified nature is now under complete control. The cylindrical object which lies in a pit directly below our position, surrounded on all sides by 8 battalions of infantry.
You hear that? Surrounded on all sides by battalions of infantry. All right, let's move ahead. He's going to start talking about gunfire and everything, and there's nothing happening in the background, but everybody believed it.
Shadow. Now the troops are on the edge of the Wilmot Farm. 7,000 armed men closing in on an old metal tube.
7,000 armed men. Do you hear anything in the background? Let's listen carefully now.
A tub, rather. Well, wait, that wasn't a shadow. It's something moving. Solid metal, kind of a shield-like affair rising up out of the cylinder. Going higher and higher. What? It's standing on legs. Actually rearing up on a sort of metal framework. Now it's reaching above the trees and the searchlights are on it. Hold on.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have a grave announcement to make. Incredible as it may seem, both the observations of science and the evidence of our eyes lead to the inescapable assumption that those strange beings who landed in the Jersey farmlands tonight are the vanguard of an invading army from the planet Mars.
A vanguard from the invading planet of Mars. Oh my gosh. Let's listen a little bit more for a few seconds and see if we hear any gunfire or anything.
What's coming nearer? Get the range. 20 meters. 23 meters. 23 meters. 22. 140 yards to the right, sir. Ship range, 31 meters.
Can you believe that people fell for that? So then they went ahead and then created the movie. I went and saw this with my wife Jennifer, and she does not like movies that are scary. And this isn't even a scary movie. I thought it was excellent. I thought that Tom Cruise was great in this. Despite his Scientology, I don't really care. If I watch a movie, it's for entertainment purposes only. But anyways, so yeah, these are like the rendition of the tripods from H.G. Wells' War of the Worlds that you heard there in the radio show. That's absolutely laughable, but people believed it. Now, if they believed it back in 1938 on radio, what's going to happen when they watch it on CNN, MSNBC, Fox News, and every other media source outlet that runs 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and they see this gigantic space shuttle and alien invasion happening? If they believed it on radio, what's going to happen when they see it on motion picture with RF pulse technology? I just loved this movie. Now let's watch it, okay, because this is cool. They even show directed energy weapons, all of the above. Now what we got to ask ourselves is, will people unite like Ronald Reagan had said? Will this bring the one world order together and their false messiah? Or will this be like War of the Worlds, where everybody launches all their weapons and then we come together as our new messiah comes to bring peace to the earth? Let's continue to watch this trailer because it's awesome. Oh yeah, look at that directed energy. Tom Cruise all covered by human dust. What a movie that was, okay? Blueprints for Mind Control. Great video. I loved it. I think it's excellent. And let's listen right here because he talks about how, and this was learning for me. I didn't know this, that the New World Order was actually even announced by Nero, Adolf Hitler, and then George Bush Sr. in 1991. Let's listen.
I knew about the Heinrich Himmler studies for Adolf Hitler, and I knew that Adolf Hitler wanted to develop some very serious people to put in places to control various regions in what he called, and George Bush called, and Nero called, the New World Order. You see, Adolf Hitler was not the first, nor was George Bush, to fantasize about this hideous idea of totalitarian government enslaving an entire globe through mind manipulation.
Yeah, that's Mark Phillips speaking. Somebody had asked me why his eyes were twitching back and forth. I have no idea. Who knows why his eyes were twitching back and forth? Perhaps he was manifested with a demonic entity from within him. Perhaps it's the low quality resolution. That's a good question. I don't know, but it was that's good information nonetheless. So now we look here at my blog page. Okay, it's all wrapped up. I got to start building a website as well as get my live stream start working, which I feel the live streams are more important. So I'm going to first get everything squared away with my computer, with the software, and get live streaming, and then I will build the website. Lastly, guys, again, please sub up to the Deliverer channel, because if this video for some reason gets pulled because I talked about the jab, that's where I'll be publishing my next videos, because I'm going to keep putting out videos until I'm live streaming. And again, guys, if they put this out left behind and they're having a 25-year anniversary about this, how they are pushing this and social engineering, guys, it's a fairy tale. Your Harpazo is going to come when you are either taken away to one of these shady camps and refuse to conform, or when you take that double jab to the arm and they go ahead and hit the frequency switch and everybody drops, and then all of a sudden people feel that they were left behind as they see the gigantic space show of the false coming of the Christ, the false Messiah, as well as the false coming of the kingdom. On that, my friends, I do look forward to seeing you real soon. I'll probably put another video out tomorrow or the next day. And until then, you have a blessed and wonderful night. Don't fall for the space show, guys, because this is all about Project Bluebeam. This is why I was called, was to unveil the AI quantum matrix, the behavior modification technology, expose the AI false prophets, and expose that, yes, this is all staged. Everything we are witnessing is a counterfeit of the coming of the kingdom. Your Harpazo will come when you actually leave this world through whatever means that God sees fit when your time is up. Much love from my family to yours. Take care and God bless.
For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the rulers of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness in high places. Wherefore take unto you the whole armor of God, that ye may be able to withstand in the evil day,